Everybody, and welcome to lecture number 2. I am Sensei Albright, and I'm glad that you've stuck around. So tonight we are going to, after seeing my weirdo freeze frame, we are going to talk about the professional email and also Kagan Chapter 1. Now, there's something in particular that I would like you to take away from the first chapter of Kagan, and most people think that the book is kind of dense, at least the first time reading. But he has some really great things to take away. So I'm going to show you that in a second. But first, I want to address the composition book entries that I've been getting. So thank you for those. I've been getting most of those, but I wanted to let you know you can feel free to type them. They don't have to be in a composition book. It's okay to send me scans of pages, though. That's fine. Nobody has sent me anything that I thought was unacceptable. All right, so whether you paste it into the body of the email, as some of you have, or you put it in composition book and scan the pages, or you type them out, any of those things is fine. The point is for you to write, and write for 20 minutes solid on each of the prompts. Now, with that said, I would like to see a little more writing. Some of you wrote a paragraph, and I have difficulty believing that it took 20 minutes to write a paragraph. So make sure that rather than worrying about your grammar or punctuation or spelling, you are worrying about getting content down on paper. All right, and so at the end of this video, I'll share with you the prompts for this week. But just bear in mind that in the future, I'd like to see some more writing. Okay, so the first thing I want to do then is talk about Kagan Chapter 1. Now, Kagan Chapter 1, your textbook, The Three Cultures, is talking about characterizing the three cultures. So you have his natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities, right? That may sound kind of familiar to you if you remember the title of the class, right? This is writing the humanities and social sciences. So we've got a couple of those right here, yeah? But I'm also covering the natural sciences, and here's why. It's the third academic culture out there. I would be leaving out a third of writing, and a lot of you are going to be natural scientists, especially those who are medical professionals who are taking this class because they need a humanities class that requires a research paper. I see you. I know who you are, right? And other medical students have done that before and found it to be successful in fulfilling that requirement. So this chart, though, is very useful in determining sort of where your discipline lies, right? So generally, the natural scientists are going to be the biology, physics, chemistry, dendrology, botany, these kinds of things that we think of as the real hard sciences, yeah? Psychologists and psychiatrists and linguists and those kinds of people who are not quite scientists but have a really hard discipline, those are generally thought of as social scientists. Teachers are often thought of as social scientists. Humanists are generally the arts and humanities people, so these are the history departments and the English departments and the arts and theater and these kinds of pursuits that deal with expression and the search for meaning. So I like the way that Kagan has laid this out. We've got primary interests, primary sources of evidence and control, conditions, primary vocabulary, the influence of historical conditions, ethical influence, dependence on outside support, work conditions, contribution to the national economy, and criteria for beauty. So if you take nothing else away from this particular chapter, chapter 1, I want you to take away a really good understanding of this chart, and I want you to relate it to something that you know, right? So like your field, I want you to be able to tell, okay, my field is a natural science or a social science or it is a field of the humanities, right? Because that will help you then when you're looking at these things to be able to say, you know, I know what I want to be after here, but that's not really what a humanist does. So here's what humanists do, right? Um, so work conditions. I'm an extrovert. I like working with lots of people. Oh, but humanists are generally solitary. Now, this is a broad generalization, right? There are humanities jobs that require lots of people. Theater comes to mind, right? But generally, these will apply, especially when you're thinking of research. So be sure that you're looking this over, making good note of this chart because it's a very helpful chart. All right. So chapter one of Kagan's book not only has this chart, but also introduces sort of the differences between the natural sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities. It also introduces the idea that there's sort of an imbalance, right? What's the newest building on campus, right? The STEM building, or maybe you would say the addition to Sudrow Hall, right? Both of those are having to do with natural sciences, yeah. So there is an inordinate amount of money spent on the natural sciences as compared to other disciplines, right? And this sort of imbalance, right, operates to the detriment of the humanities, and to some extent the natural sciences or the social sciences. Um, and so Kagan starts to talk about some of that and talks about what that might mean and the implications of that and the history of those ideas. So that's basically what chapter one is. I would like you to, as one of your writing prompts this week, sit down and write for 20 minutes a summary of the chapter. Um, what points you're taking away, what you thought was important, and how you felt about what you were reading. This can include your complaints about how dense the work is, because I know that that's something that you're doing right now. You could also complain that you don't have the book yet because you weren't sure if you were going to get into the class. That's fine too. Um, but I think all of those issues are resolved now, so please do go ahead and get the book. All right? So that's all I want to talk about chapter one. Um, if you have any questions about the chapter in particular, please let me know. Otherwise, we will move on. So, on the syllabus, it says this week we are doing not only Kagan Chapter 1, but also lecture number 2. And at the end of the week on Friday at 11:59 p.m., the professional email is due, right? Now, I have said, right, that my deadlines are a little bit flexible, right? So it's okay if it's not in right at 11:59 p.m., but that's the due date, yeah, on Friday evening. So, professional email. I've given you a guide here on Blackboard. It's the professional email guide. Yeah, right here. This is in the course content section. And I like the title of this article, How to Email Your Professor Without Being Annoying AF, right? And this is a really great breakdown of how to email your professor or any professional contact in the future. And I think that you should take this template that they offer you and follow it from now on, anytime that you're contacting somebody that has some power over you, right? Anytime there's a power differential, you should always make sure that you are recognizing that by uh, performing the appropriate genre, right? A genre is a kind of thing, right? So there are things that we expect to see in an email, and generally these things are the things that you want to see in an email. So we have dear professor, last name. I've asked you for my honorific to be sensei because I am not a professor. So dear Sensei Albright, this is a line that recognizes our common humanity. So a line that recognizes our common humanity might be just as simple as, it's been cold weather lately. I hope you're recovering nicely from that cold you had. I hope your children are well. I see that you've got an arbitrary sign on your wall back there. What's that about? Uh, anything like that that recognizes our common humanity, and then remind me, I'm in your class section number that meets on this day, and you would say meets online, and I have or the help I need is this is the question I have, or the help I need. Um, so identify that question or that help that you need. You've looked at the syllabus and at your notes from class and online and asked somebody from class. You can contact people in class through the users and groups function in Blackboard, right? Users is right there. Um, and I think the answer is this. Please do take a guess, right? But I'm still not sure. This is the action I would like you to take. Please email me with your thoughts on my opinion, right? Signing off with a thank you is always a good idea. Thank you very much for your time. Favorite student, right? Joe Snuffy. Yeah. So this article then goes on to explain each element of that and why you should use it. And it's very concise, right? But it's very important because as you go through your college career, there are very few genres that you will actually practice more than the email. So I'm hoping that you will take seriously the opportunity to get better at writing an email because it's a really commonly used genre that I think that you will find is very useful moving forward. So please email me with any questions that you have about the email or about Kagan Chapter 1. So once again, that first writing prompt is going to be a summary of Chapter 1. Your second writing prompt for this week, I want you to tell me about who you are, right? So describe some of your identities. Sensei Albright, I am a Choctaw from Oklahoma, and I grew up on the reservation, and I have 4 brothers and 5 sisters, and they are this age and 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 this age. And this made me feel blah growing up. And I learned to find joy in playing the guitar, or playing video games, or drawing, or driving, or whatever. I just want to, for your second writing prompt, to hear something about you, something that defines you, your identity. And remember, these are all 20-minute writing prompts, so I just want to hear about you, so that we can get to know each other a little bit more. Yeah. So yeah, just let me know if you have questions about that. Again, the composition book is fine if it's typed, or if you scan in a picture of a page or whatever. Just make sure you're getting that writing done. So do this week then. Chapter 1 of Kagan, the professional email, and the 2 writing prompts. One is a summary of Chapter 1 of Kagan. The other is the other thing. The identity exercise. I just want to hear about your identity. All right? So remember, each of those is 20 minutes. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Have a good week, and let me know if I can be of any help. Oops, that's not the right thing.